Hi everyone, Father Christian here. Just a small reflection for our youth today and also for families who are able to listen as well, especially during the times that we find ourselves. The reflection, as Father Vasilius has written in his letter, along with his sermon title and Father Jonathan's sermon title for today's youth sermon, I decided to title it something along the lines of the Symphony of Life. It's commonplace and a common understanding that in music, music has the ability to make us feel different emotions, or at least influence those emotions, which is why when we're listening to music, if we're going to be working out, we're not typically listening to classical music. And if you're going on a date or trying to set up a romantic evening, Enter the Sandman by Metallica wouldn't be your choice of a song. In the same way, music, it's for this reason rather, that certain songs are played in certain times, and because they influence greatly the emotions that a person has. It's for a similar reason that when I went to a symphony back in 2008 into 2009, it was my first symphony. I went to see the Boston Symphony Orchestra when I was in Boston, studying at Holy Cross. And I got to the symphony hall and everyone's dressed very properly, dressed very well. Maybe a tie, a bow tie, nice pants, women are well dressed. It was a very elegant and posh evening. We get into the main hall and there are these people on stage, right? Like maybe you would see in a concert, and they're setting up and tuning their instruments and whatnot. And then after a little bit, there's this thunderous applause as this conductor walks on stage. And he's there, he takes a bow and begins conducting these people in the music, and he's often flailing his arms back and forth, and other times it's very hushed and quiet and focused work, and other times it's very spastic almost. But he and then the symphony goes on. It's got, I believe most symphonies have an average of 4 parts, and it's an elevated type of music as well as the type of music that you're listening to. There's actually this saying, if I'm not mistaken, Father Seraphim Rose of blessed memory, who said that people who are entering the Orthodox Church, they would first have to listen to classical music to tune their soul and their ears to more beautiful, higher type of music before they're introduced to the music that we hear in the church, Byzantine chant or a 4-part harmony or Gregorian chant, whatever it is. But anyway, so we get, I go through these movements, and I couldn't help but see that the people that were on stage, the conductor and the musicians themselves, they were, it seemed like an analogy of the spiritual life. You have these people that are the instruments, these these performers, these people that were playing the violin, the drums, the cello, you name it. And they're focused and on their craft. They've practiced. They've put in the work and the hours, and they're there all transfixed on the sheet of music that's in front of them, all the while having their focus on the conductor so that they can keep up with the rhythm and the beat that the conductor has set. And it seems like the conductor is the person of God. Someone who's there a little bit afar off, apart, separated from the group, but conducting nonetheless the rhythm and the beat and the tempo and the movement of the symphony as a whole. From he influences so much the performance from his remote distance. And then the instruments, the people that are there, are like us as Orthodox Christians who are there doing our best to listen to the beat and the tempo and the rhythm that God, the conductor, has set for our own lives. And it's possible for us who have never practiced to be in the middle of the symphony of our lives and be on the different page. Or it's possible that we don't quite understand the music that's being played. Or we might have the wrong sheet music for the wrong instrument. So there's many things, and this is ultimately, when we think of sin in our own lives, this is ultimately how the church understands sin. It's not necessarily right or wrong, although there are elements of that, but more so sin is an understanding of mistake. It's missing the mark. It's missing the beat that God has set for someone's life, God the conductor. And therefore it's possible for us as instruments to not be refined, to not be tuned, to be off pitch. There's many things that we can make mistakes on. But it's also possible that over time, as we master our instrument that God has given us, our unique and specific instrument that God has given you, for a unique sound that you can produce and you alone can produce in the world, as we refine that, as we practice on it through the teachings of the church, through the obeying of our parents and our families, and through coming to church and staying connected with, especially within this community, the Holy Trinity community, it's also possible that we can begin to make those mistakes less as we mature and as we grow, so that by the time that we reach adulthood, you're seamlessly connected with God as He conducts the symphony of your life, and really the symphony of everyone's life, because we're all interconnected. One instrument alone does not make a symphony, but many instruments working harmoniously together to create the piece of music that resonates for generations to come. Which is why it's also important and beautiful and important, very important, to stay connected with those who are aiming towards such and in such a manner to live their life, so that if you find yourself offbeat, perhaps your friend next to you with a similar instrument is also is not offbeat, but someone who is on beat, who has been practicing, and you glean from their tempo, the tempo to rightly follow for your own life and for your own music. And you glean from their rhythm with God the conductor, from their instruments, the music and the beauty, and you begin to apply that to your own life. So although we may still find ourselves in quarantine, I pray that you all glean from the lives of the saints, those who have perfected their instruments and their craft, and begin to apply that into your own life as God, who is the conductor, continues to conduct in the lives of you and of others. Amen.